Recording in progress.
One. Oh, that's good. I guess we don't need that. We want to know. Today is Monday, April 1st, 2024. This Town of Crestone Planning Commission meeting is being held both in person and via Zoom. The time is 5:07. In order to complete the town's business in a timely manner, the following procedures will be followed for all town meetings, including those hosted on Zoom. All meeting participants must keep their microphones muted and their videos turned off, except during citizens' comments and unless called on to speak by the board. Per the Town of Crestone Board of Trustees Procedures and Rules of Order, Section 7.3, we allow 15 minutes total for citizens' comments. During those 15 minutes, speakers will be allowed up to 3 minutes to speak, after which they will be informed that their 3 minutes are up and their microphones will be muted. Before speaking, please state your name and address for the record. If you have comments longer than 3 minutes, or if the time for citizens' comments expired before you had a chance to speak, please send your comments as correspondence to Town Hall, and the board will respond to your letters. We will take citizens' comments for up to 15 minutes for our procedures. If multiple citizens have the same comments to make, please be brief. Ariel, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mayor Danforth,
Here.
Commissioner Byers,
Here.
Commissioner DeCollin,
Here.
and Chair Armando Mendez Sanchez is absent with notice.
Thank you. Next item is approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, changes?
I would like to just add, talk a little bit maybe about the PUD. Find out where we're at.
PUD discussion,
PUD discussion.
so we could put that under
Should I put that?
old business, item A. Anything else?
Nope, I had something in the minutes, I just wanted to check on it.
All right. In that case, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Jen Ducal, second by Benjamin Meyer. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The agenda is approved as amended. That brings us to citizens' comments. Do we have any? We have no citizens in the room. Are there any citizens via Zoom who would like to speak? Seeing none, hearing none, we will close citizens' comments and move to the next item, agenda item number 6, reports. Speak into the microphone. No, no. And we have no reports, and then we'll move on to new business. We have one item, how to proceed with current and upcoming commissioner vacancies. That will be an appointment by the new board, not our board. We will, if both of our current trustee members of the planning commission are reelected, means that we would have to appoint someone who is not on the board. So we can only have 2.
How many, is it just us 4 right now?
Then we have a vacancy, we will then have two vacancies on the planning commission. And they both should be filled because.
We can get one more board member.
Hmm.
So we could have two.
Well,
Oh, Armando, it depends on the
I
election.
don't know, it just, everything depends, so we don't
Depends on the
know.
election.
So wait, I don't remember us being on the ballot.
We're not, you're appointed, so you're on for, you're,
I don't know, when you get a chance, what is the length of the term? Ginny was appointed, for how long was?
Jenny,
Her
term,
appointment.
hers says expires April 2023.
Hard to do.
Okay.
Well, then maybe Ginny needs to be reappointed.
Yeah.
We can make that recommendation.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Just haven't gotten started yet.
Yeah,
In terms of,
yeah, actually, this is just an old thing, which is kind of weird because
first thing on
we're all expired.
is this it right here?
People, yeah,
Planning commission, okay, so there is a term expiration.
Well,
So
traditionally,
this should
they,
be reprinted?
yeah, do you know where the original of this thing is?
I have an updated,
Yeah.
is that the contact list?
Yeah,
Yeah, I do have an updated one
cool.
of that, but I never updated like the commissioner part.
probably it would be good to go over the entire list and bring it up to date.
At some point, yeah.
Yeah, I just
When
updated.
you, as you have, as you have
The
time.
other thing that we really need to do at some point, and this is totally off the subject, but have a Firewise committee meeting. And
Yeah.
appoint new Firewise, because that we're still going, we gotta reapprove the Firewise town, so
Yeah,
that's kind of important.
So do you have any suggestions for,
To fill the vacancies.
I mean, I thought about him Frisco, I was
So-
talking to him the other day, and he seemed like a good candidate.
So I have, it's a possible, Benjamin, do you remember Ave? I talked to her, about applying to be, appointed to the trustees as a trustee.
Trustee.
And although first she said no, but I think she would consider it.
Okay.
And also she could be, if she were not a trustee, she could be on the planning commission. She would be a valuable
I agree.
a member of either.
Yeah.
who is this again?
Her name is April.
April
Oh,
Dory,
she was at the school.
DOER.
She lives right over here in
With Steve Storm.
Storm.
Oh, okay.
There's other people that I think are interested, it's just gonna take a
Do
little
you have
time.
any names?
Maybe Patrick would be interested, Patrick.
Oh, he would be great.
Yeah. So that'd be good,
He's gone some,
she's gone on a bit,
but he has a lot of control over when he's gone.
right. Who else did I talk
That's
to?
true.
Patrick
Patrick.
Stingson.
Benjamin and I know.
He lives right below Dennis,
Okay,
like, you're up there,
all right.
and, he's a neat guy, he's very smart.
Very good with numbers and, very knowledgeable.
There was somebody else. Thinking for a second, oh, I know who it was, Sean, what's his name, we call him Smiley Sean, but he just moved in,
Oh, yeah, I know.
he's been living in town. He's a neat guy, he's very protective, he's got a daughter here, he just moved into Sherry's house above Carl,
Sean,
he just bought that house.
Sean,
Not Sean
Is it
King,
Maniacus? Is that his name?
yes,
what about Sean King?
Sean King, he
The
doesn't
one
live in
who's
town,
building your 20.
he doesn't live in town.
They have to live in town.
Wasn't he live on Hemlock or just above Hemlock? He
No.
was,
Sean King?
yeah, the one who's building the, right next to you.
No, he lives with Isaac in the Baca.
Oh. Well, that's good. I thought it was
Well,
below that, yeah.
Yeah, Sean, he was definitely interested, because he was thinking about being on, wanting to apply to be on board.
How long has he been here?
He's been here over a year, he's voting. Kyle,
Yeah.
he was on that, wanted to, but I don't know if he's gonna be.
Ariel,
Has he been here? He
that,
has to be
filling
appointed for a year.
two vacancies, then there'll be
We
two
couldn't- we
vacancies on the
He has to
town
wait.
planning commission, should be on the agenda
He
for the
was-
special.
he had to go in.
Now he lives over in,
Yeah, he
Yeah.
lives in, what's your name's house, it's her birthday today, actually.
yeah, Diane's,
Diane Barfield, Bearston.
yeah.
And so he has to be at
My
one
birthday
address
too.
for a year? Huh?
My birthday too.
Oh, happy birthday. My God.
Today's your birthday? Happy birthday.
My
Yeah,
birthday,
happy birthday. April Fool's Day?
Yep,
Yeah, at first I was like, this is a joke.
A real
I'm
April.
a real April Fool. Me and Diane,
You and Diane.
Rashawn.
We're on, yeah.
We should have had a cake today.
No, I had
know,
plenty of. People keep loading me up, I got this like cup of like pudding that somebody gave me, and I had stuff, oh my god. No more
You're
sugar,
gonna have a cake for
I
dessert
need to drink
tonight?
some water, huh?
Cake for dessert tonight?
No,
with your
not- I've had enough sugar today, to last me a while.
dinner?
I had 2 cinnamon rolls, I had cookies, you
Yeah,
don't have to put this in the notes.
don't forget.
It's on the recording.
But it sounds like you didn't have a cake today.
I had
Don't
cakes.
use one. I had such a
He
big
didn't- You
celebration.
know what? Nobody put a candle in it, and so he hasn't gotten a wish yet.
Oh, it's
That's
okay,
what
I
I
don't,
want to do. They don't need anyone wishes. Okay, so,
no, I bought myself a big present today.
oh my God, what did you buy? What haven't you got?
Silver.
Oh, silver. Oh my God. That must be a big investment.
Yeah.
Silver's a good one.
That was a good birthday gift.
But I don't understand what the regulation is. Do you have to live in one address in order, for a year, in order to be part of? Because I know Kyle's lived.
Not one address. You can
You
just,
usually live in a town address for, is it 22 consecutive months?
is that what it is?
Oh, 22.
Is it?
I can double check.
To be a board member? Oh, commercial? Oh, I thought it was only like.
Is it 12? It could be 12. I could have.
Well, I'll look at my- I have-
appropriated that number.
I'm gonna start carrying around a book that like has the rules and stuff.
Which is
Robert's Rules of
voter and live in town for the 12.
And if
22
it ever,
consecutive months.
if it ever comes up in a meeting and it gets, people are talking or interrupting by policy, the board has, made it a policy that Robert's Rules of Order will be followed during our board, all of our meetings.
Cool. I've been reading about Robert's rules.
Yeah. We're off subject. Let's get back.
Yeah.
No, we're not actually, because we were supposed to be talking about vacancy seats.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking him, and I thought Kyle was here for at least a year.
No, because that's the reason why he couldn't apply to be, get on the ballot.
I don't
Yeah,
understand.
yeah, literally,
There was a guy named Kyle, tall guy,
Kyle Camp.
who was gonna be the
Oh,
sixth
yeah.
person trying to get on.
He couldn't prove
Oh,
that
and
he
that
had
was-
lived
he
in
was the one
town
with the
for over a
residence.
year. He didn't have a lease, he didn't have
No.
any like.
He couldn't prove it, because
Proof of
I know he
residency.
did.
You have to have proof of residence.
Okay, then he has to.
I think he tried to get it,
He
but he didn't.
did.
Oh, he tried.
He really
Okay.
tried. I think he
Yeah.
just couldn't.
Oh, that's.
So now he knows, and he probably could get on the planning commission too.
So I've added, I'm gonna add to the agenda for the special meeting we have this month, the Board of Trustees, to appoint
Planning commissioners.
planning commissioners, and then I'm gonna double check on, Commissioner DeCalli's appointment and see if she needs to be reappointed as well, and if she does, then I will add that to the agenda.
According to this, I have to be reappointed, and so we all,
So pretty much everyone has to be reappointed.
yeah,
The next meeting.
so we have to see if maybe we did do it or not, but according
I
to this,
I don't think.
there are a lot of, Gwen's not on the Firewise committee anymore,
Yeah.
neither's
I
Diane.
brought that up too.
Yeah.
So we just gotta go through
We
it.
work on
Yeah.
updating everything for everyone. We just
Yeah, There are sheets behind it too.
We gotta get totally caught.
There's like 3 sheets.
She's doing a great job of getting caught
I
up.
know, I'm really happy.
I'm very,
It always feels really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 other pages here. Fire Research and Rescue, and then Board of Adjustment.
I think the Board of Adjustments was just reappointed recently. I'm sure.
2025, yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's move on with the agenda. We will.
So what I would do, is there any place that you post for commissioners? Cause that would be kind of cool too, like, we could say, anybody who's interested in being a commissioner.
We
Submit a
should put
letter
it
of
on our
intent.
website,
If you can.
yes.
For sure, I can put that on the
Yeah.
website, I could also post in the boxes
You
around.
could also say, and we might have to do this anyways, that we are looking for, board members too, but just to be fair.
But don't do
Oh,
that
no.
until we see what the election results are. If 4, depending on which 4, depending on which one is not elected, remember that Dana is not elected, we may want to appoint her, in which case, according to Judy Aber, all we have to do is make that decision on Monday, make a decision
After
to,
the.
to appoint,
Yeah.
a board member and then do the appointment, so we don't know yet.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so that brings us to old business, and we have one item, discussion of the PUD.
So I'm just curious, did you do the building permit?
I did not do the
Oh,
building
right.
permit. I wanted at first to wait to hear from our attorney about how he would move forward, and I had to wait for him to come back from his spring break vacation. When he did come back and we were able to talk about it, what we discussed was that I'm currently the deputy clerk and I'm not the town clerk, and the town clerk issues building permits. So that's an issue in itself. And then also, there needs to be an inspector, and we don't have a building inspector at this time either.
One thing
So-
we talked about was Mateo actually taking over that, he's gonna need some training.
The attorney advised not to do
Oh.
that. He said you really need someone who is an experienced
Okay, well, we
building
might have to
inspector.
contract that specifically for one.
What he did say is that in the meantime, the board can act as a building inspector,
Oh.
but there needs to be a motion. You have to essentially appoint yourself
Oh.
as building inspector,
Okay.
to do so. And also, if you can, for the clerk as a part of that, you can either make me town clerk and have me issue that, or you can designate me as someone who can issue building permits
Gotcha.
and do it that way. Or,
I don't know if this is still valid, but I mean, here, it actually says that it goes from property owner, application, site visit fees, then planning commission to recommendation into board of trustees, then approved or disapproved from the board of trustees. Is that?
that's what I was following as well, but I have received conflicting
Yeah,
guidance on that. But essentially I put it on the April 8th agenda to decide on whether a building permit should be and how you would like to proceed as a board on that.
So I believe Ariel who mentioned to me that she's been told by, I guess, IKEA, that if we don't approve the building permit issuance,
they won't get it on.
they're gonna file a lawsuit.
Is that the point of saying that they're ready to move forward legally?
Now, what did,
And as for the bond, she told me that they could not get a bond or insurance until they have a building permit issued.
but is that true or not? And did you ask the lawyer if that's true?
He did agree that,
He agreed
that they needed a building permit to move forward.
So the last time we met, there was a huge question as to what those special issues were.
I know,
And
we
did
still
you
never
ever
have those
find-
questions answered.
So you never found them? Didn't we have tapes, videos of the meetings where?
I did pull those meetings, but
Yeah.
I still have them. somewhere.
So if we're going
No
off
one has
this,
to review them.
if we're going off this, there's fees. They have, we haven't even done the tap fees yet, right?
No,
So Are we gonna be using this as our main?
Well, I would suggest that you have another conversation with Seth before the April 8th meeting, let him know the threats that have been made. And perhaps ask him, he will have all of the, history, the correspondence, the questions and so forth. And then that will come up for discussion at that meeting.
Curious about, they had said that they were gonna provide a timeline at one point as well.
We're gonna wait for that.
Where there's some confusion too is if we're following that chart there, the board already approved this back in October.
That's right.
Approve the PUD.
Yeah. And so there shouldn't, what was needed at the last meeting was to see if there were small changes, if there were minor changes, or if there were major changes. Since there were no major changes, they're still in line with the approval that they received back in October.
But they just don't have a permit.
But the board
They just don't
approval
have a
was
permit.
conditioned on those questions being answered. The board approval was the result of an application which for all those six questions or whatever, major topics, the things they were supposed to do, that they said they didn't have the money to do. So the approval, they approved it, but we still have never, they have never responded to those questions.
Yeah, but we have to know the questions.
Okay, the attorney will have that. We
So-
have it in our books probably.
I just wanted to show this because I thought it was kind of relevant, but I was up in Buena Vista and they're building this 4-unit apartment type thing. And they, right when you walk up to it, they have all of their documents, bonds, insurance, everything in the little folder here. Anybody can take it out and look at it.
Yeah.
They have their plans in this thing. They have the address, they have the big design here, and they have their building permit there. It's just like,
That's how ours should look too,
That's-
essentially, when I give out a building
That's very
permit.
interesting.
Yeah, doesn't the building permit have to be out in public?
And we couldn't
does.
do that because they never submitted some of the basic information. We, like the tap.
but
fees.
I mean, this
In
thing right
regards to
here.
the question with the letter, I think they did send that, the attorney has that, I can pull that up for you guys and print that out too. I don't know that it's exactly what we requested.
So tap fees were one of them.
Tap fees, there was supposed to be a timeline,
Yeah.
there was supposed to be bond and insurance. And if they didn't get that insurance or bond, then they probably need a letter from the bonding agency saying that they need the building permit first.
So according to what I heard is that they said they can't get a bond before.
Then there
they-
should be a letter stating that from the bond company
But-
instead of
but-
from IKEA.
Aren't bonds usually issued before the begins?
Look
or
at the plan this year.
I did talk to the bonding company and they did say they needed the building
did?
permit, yeah.
You need a
I don't know,
building
if you still want that in the letter, I would happily get that for you, but
Well, if you talk to them.
I called everyone trying to get everything.
Okay.
So what we've got builder's permit, tap fees, insurance, which is the bond,
Timeline.
timeline, yeah, that's right. What else, anything else? That's.
So we got that deed, we got that, there was a deed, easement deed or something like that last time, and that's kind of important.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of an important thing that probably needs to get filed with the county. But it also, whatever infrastructure that they're putting in there, Dennis said that all needs to be insured separately. Because if it's getting given to us
To the town.
and something goes wrong, and we're held
That's on us.
responsible.
That's, yeah, that's all. So the town has to get insurance on the easement.
No, I'm saying that if they're
No, it's the other
doing,
way around.
if
They
they're
need
gonna-
to get insurance.
eventually, they're gonna have to give like a full, I don't know if they have to subdivide it or something, they're gonna have to give some kind of full statement saying that they're turning the infrastructure over to us. And I don't know what that is exactly.
And
You could ask the
that
lawyer.
would mean there would be a deed. And the question is, when would that need to happen? I mean, I
We
would,
have the easement deed here.
Oh,
This is what we got last time,
that's right.
but, and it looks like it was already sent to the county. They already issued it to the county. There's something about infrastructure that Dennis keeps saying that basically, if they're gonna be giving us the infrastructure, it has to have some kind of separate insurance, something like that. And it could be tied to the bond, I'm not sure exactly what it's tied to.
I'll
But,
talk to the attorney,
Yeah.
but from his perspective, we are at the issuing of the building permit stage, just need to figure out the town clerk and the building inspector. People that he did.
And there's a very old and well-established common law doctrine that says that no one should come into the court filing charges without clean hands. In this case, they have failed to do some of the basic things they were supposed to do. So they might file if they wanted to, they probably wouldn't, but let's say they did file. But I think that, Scott would know more about that, but it's a very, well-established doctrine. You don't go to court if you're delinquent or delinquent in things you were supposed to do. And it
And
doesn't,
they know this, they have this list, right?
what?
They have this, Living Wisdom has this list of things that they have to bring forth. They have it, is that correct?
Well, they filed the application and we all had it to read where 16, 17, whatever the numbers were. That each one of them, they said, we have no money, therefore we cannot respond to this. But those were important things that they were supposed to do.
so here's one thing, from the PUD, it says the project timeline identifies September 2021 as the deadline to have all lease and governance documents completed.
And they missed that deadline
Oh, yeah, it's long.
grossly, significantly.
It seems like we're penalizing them rather than cooperate, trying to get them to understand that this is something that has to be done.
That's a very good point, and I think all we want to do is to have it done properly
Yeah.
and completely, because this involves a lot of money and potential liability for the town, and the town.
So would you issue them a final notice saying, this is all we need?
We're gonna respond to whatever the attorney says, basically.
I'm gonna talk to Seth one more time and I'm just gonna move forward how he says, because I wanna do everything by the book and I don't want to be held liable for something that I came into the back end
Yeah,
of.
Good,
right.
so we'll just deal with it on Dave.
Yeah, so I'll have one more conversation with him and, I can try and talk to them to get these final things, the tap fee, the timeline, the bond, the insurance, but I know for the bond and insurance part that they're not going to give that to us before the building permit is.
Okay, but you know that they are going to give it to us after.
Yes, she assured, Akia assured me that she would definitely give it to us after the building permit.
Okay, so I think
What about tap fees?
She didn't mention tap fees
don't we pay the
to me,
tap?
Why would we pay?
They pay the tap fees.
Yeah, and they have a certain, what we need to do,
Well, they know that, I mean,
our own due diligence is we know that they have 22 taps on both water and sewer.
do you need that in writing? Do you need that? 22, the number 22?
22.
Let's do
The
that.
thing is, they didn't wanna pay, they don't wanna be involved in the monthly
That's right,
billing,
yeah,
right?
we have to.
The,
Exactly, so what they wanna do is have us bill them for every single unit.
So you have to be
Like
precise on
that's a
how many taps there are.
Each unit is gonna have a bill, a separate bill.
Ooh,
Oh, okay.
They don't wanna do the,
Like one
they don't
big,
want that responsibility or work.
so if you think about it this way, they're building the infrastructure. But we haven't negotiated, like, so normally when we tap, some of the stuff we put in the tap is our expense.
Mhm.
Like we have the parts for it.
yeah,
And it comes out of the tap fee itself. In this case, I think that they're going to put in what they need to make it so that each tap works. So we've never negotiated how much money the difference is between, the tap fee, what the equipment costs are like, and then how much extra there is left over. I think that we should probably, if they're gonna pay for all that stuff, we should probably consider giving them some kind of discount, because, but we've never negotiated it.
But we've never, they've never come to us with anything.
We're going to build it.
Well, one thing we need to do is find out how much our tap fees are for water and sanitation.
Okay.
And then we need to multiply that by 22.
Oh, I can get you that number.
Yeah,
Cause I have the fees.
and that should come in April 8th and say, this is what the tap fees are, because fees need to be paid before, according to this document, fees need to be paid before issuing permit. This
You mean before they're built?
property owner pays fees, then it even goes to the planning commission, they haven't paid any fees yet.
That's correct.
Right, well,
If we're going off this document.
there it is.
Yeah. So the other thing is,
Go ahead.
if we're doing, individual, like, I don't know if our fee schedule says this, but say you were in like multi-use residential. Do you pay fees like building permits for each unit that you build, or is there like a multiplier that has to happen where, you know, if you're building a 4-unit apartment, does each one get a building permit? Or like have to pay a fee for the unit, a unit fee?
Water.
And not water, it doesn't have- I'm just talking about like if you're, you know, like I'm sure in the city, you're building 16 units or something like that. There's 16 separate fees, separate from the actual, no, separate from the actual tap fees. They're like more like,
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, that's
cause
tagged on.
I don't know if it's true, I don't know if we have that, but I know that like, because
So
most
who
of
would
them,
know that would be the builder, and then he puts
they
it.
just have to look it up.
She has to look
see
it
if
up.
there's some
There's
kind of-
nothing.
The other thing was,
I just don't have that information on the top of my head.
Uh-huh,
I can find it out.
yeah.
the other thing is gonna be labeling each unit, right? So you have like 22 units. Each one is gonna have a separate bill. How are we gonna identify each unit?
Yeah, is it unit A, is it
Right.
1 and 2?
One,
And then-
two, three.
And then there's this thing where there is a multiplier, I forget what is it called, where you, like, our place has, because we have a certain amount of toilets.
The equitable bill, there's a word, yeah, I don't know. So for the sewer, then there is this whole question that we haven't even brought up of they have, each unit has to be evaluated separately for number of toilets or this or that for billing purposes. What is that word?
So,
Not equitable.
you know what I mean? So like, my bill over at the building is like $250 a month, but that's because we have 3 bathrooms or something like that, and we have 4 sinks and.
And then maybe that's just for commercial now, or is it also
Well-
residential?
Well, I guess my point is like, whatever we're going to eventually end up with in our file to build them, we're gonna need some sort of code for us that sort of understands each unit. So whether it be an address, you know, it could be like living room A, B, C, all the way.
So I don't even know if every unit is gonna be the same and have the same number of bedrooms. We don't know. They
No.
never
But we
told us.
do know based on the plans.
Yeah, there's 1 and 2 bedrooms.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought. Some are 1 and some are 2.
Well, I think they're all just 1 bathroom. I think it's just 1 bathroom.
So I guess my point is, when we talk about this, the tap fees, we should talk about like, okay, so they're tapped, right? Now they get a bill. In our system, we're not gonna do by name necessarily, we wanna do it by unit because.
Names could change.
Name
Names
change,
change as people move.
right,
Yeah.
so basically, we could send all of those to one address and then they hand them out and then they send them back or whatever. We just wanna be able to keep track,
Yeah,
And who's responsible if they don't pay the bill?
that's,
that's a good question.
Anyway, this is all little things, but they're all things that are important for the future of this development.
And if we don't get them answered now, then we have no leverage
But the thing
later.
is, it's extremely tense with living with them because they worked and they're not getting approved, and so they're frustrated.
They will probably get approved on the 8th,
Okay,
but
but at
But
that
that
point,
doesn't
this
answer-
all has to be answered by the 8th then.
Or at least has to be brought up, right, is that what you're saying, at least has to be like discussed, there has to be. some
Discussed,
kind of-
they have to be given like a very clear understanding.
I mean, they have to
This
understand
is
why
the-
we're,
This is the final detail that,
But this is not that we don't want them, don't need them, don't
This-
appreciate them. These are questions that have to do with liability and who pays what and so forth. And to be prudent with, because this is, it's taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
We need to answer these questions
Yes.
and work out some of these details.
I
Not to be
understand that.
punitive,
But
but
it's-
because it's our
It's taken a long
responsibility.
time just to make this list, as far as I can tell. From what I've noticed, what I've observed, we keep saying there are all these little details that we haven't answered, and now we have a list of them. But up until now, I didn't, we didn't know where they were, we didn't know.
We've read them,
But
we read them in the original application when we saw it, we've read them.
did you discuss it when you had?
Well, I didn't, at that time, there was nothing to discuss because they said we have no money and we'll do it when we get funding.
Oh, when they get money.
And that's what we waited for.
so I think the research that needs to be done is to find out exactly, like, when we come in, if you come forth and you say, with 22 taps, water sanitation taps, this is what it will cost. There's probably some cost, again, for actually how much the equipment is that we install. And if they're gonna do that themselves, then we can subtract some of that, and there will be like a balance. And so we wanna know, some numbers, so that when they come in, we can say, these are the tap fees, you have to pay this before we can do the building permit. And then you're set, and we'll approve you.
So they need to know before the 8th, all this.
Either before or on the 8th, we just say like, we'll approve
They
it.
may have to get numbers.
I think they're wondering why, like, we're kind of supposed to bill them for a tap fee. I mean, it's like, they want to tap into our system.
That should be a source of revenue for us.
It should be.
Tap fees, that's what they are.
Right.
And so it's our responsibility to do this, not just to
Yeah,
let it
exactly.
go. And the bonding also.
Glad they told you that they were handing the tap fees over to you.
Here it says 21 water taps and 1 sewer tap.
Okay, so that's
But-
not 22?
I think there's 22, I think there's 22, and I looked at the map, there's actually 2 more taps.
Well,
that are
that's a
not
good
included.
question.
Sewer
if it's
tap
used
is
there,
sewer
then
tap, right?
that's a good question.
Yeah.
How many tap fees we can point out the discrepancy? Is it 21 or 22?
Well,
So this
it
letter
sounds
came
like-
out September 25th, 2023, and says, the engineer drawing showed 21 water taps and 1 sewer tap.
Yeah, so it's 22.
Because the minor change means that there was no real substantive change. So how did it get a different tap fee number?
But when I looked at it, and the plans are right here, and if you go to, I mean, if you,
Did you see a sewer tap? Where's the
Yeah.
sewer tap? So was that what you counted?
each one is as a sewer tap.
Oh,
I mean, if not,
yeah.
I mean, how do you say that there's only 1 sewer tap?
What is, so what does that mean? There's 44?
No, all I'm saying is you have 22 units, including their main building and their greenhouse building, and they both have
And the main
water.
building might need to have a bigger, whatever that word is, a charge, because they'll have maybe more toilets or whatever. More bathrooms.
So I need to confirm with them how many taps,
I wouldn't even confirm with them. It shows here how many taps they have
on the plans.
on the plans. If you go to their utility, it's under utility something, I can't even read it, so small. On the big ones, you can see it. And it shows sewer and water, sewer, water, sewer, water in each one. So you count up those little symbols. And then we just figure out how much,
Something on the,
right,
right.
now. And then we might wanna have our own billing system, because they're doing it under units. So we could do, they have unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, unit 4, unit 5, so we could have it that way in our computer, but either way.
I would have whatever ours is matched there, so there's not confusion for anyone else, whoever
Right.
touches.
And if they argue and say, you know, it's only one sewer tap, then we have to charge, we figure, I don't see how it is, it's one to the main line, but they're individual units.
Yes, into that main
Yeah.
line, so there should
That's a
be
major
20,
point.
there should be 22 water taps and
22
22 sewer
taps.
taps.
Oh,
All right, should be a good meeting.
another good meeting.
All right, is there anything else to come before the commission this evening?
Did you wanna look at those minutes, or do you want more time?
Oh, yeah, there was
to
one
read
thing in the
over
minute.
Before you approve them?
Did you have that on the agenda?
Yeah, it was, item number
Oh,
4.
here it is, approval of minutes, sorry about that.
Did we do
No,
it? I thought it just,
we skipped over.
Do the agenda approval.
There was one thing,
we don't, what, minutes for what, last time?
Minutes for the last 3 meetings, because I was not trained on minutes
We
and.
don't have, I don't have anything on
Yes,
the
we do.
minutes for the last, for the 20th, was it the 20th?
Yeah.
It was 16.
13th?
16th of March.
I have that one, what that, oh.
It should be February 5th, March 4th, and, March 16th,
Yeah.
so the special meeting.
Okay, we do have that.
So the one thing that I saw was on March 16th,
I got it right
on
here.
the second page, there was, in the dark letters, usually I think you write the actual motion that was approved in dark with who first did it, second, and
Oh, the motion itself should.
the motion
be bold
itself should be
as well.
dark. And then who approved it, so that we know what the motion was. But I guess you're talking about the substantial compliance with the approved project.
And that was word for word, that,
Using drawings submitted, finds them to be in substantial compliance, okay.
Cheers.
Do you think you could put this thing in like our packet next time, just so that we have a little more understanding for
Yeah.
the board?
definitely.
Because this is, I think this is why we,
Why we're having trouble now, because it kind of got like mixed around.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
and I see what you're saying, that there was an approval, but if that was the case, then we skipped over fees,
It's
we
a,
skipped over site visit.
Yeah.
and that's what everyone keeps coming back to, but you're right, that those parts of those bullets were skipped over.
Well, what was the motion, do you remember?
The motion that we had before was that there was no substantial
Yeah.
changes or something like that.
There was a
But
minor
here-
change.
but Here
Had to
references a
go from
motion
the
from October where the board approved the project, like, in totality. And I don't have, that's one of the minutes I'm working on now, because they're missing. But I do have a recording.
But the board said we approved the project. All right, we'll figure it out.
We didn't approve it, we recommended approval to the.
No, she's talking about a board meeting that we have said we approved the project,
Oh,
actual board meeting.
Oh, okay, yeah,
However, we were under a little bit of duress at the time.
And
And,
the timeline wasn't,
and the timeline wasn't in, and we kind of got forced into it.
we were pushed way back in the beginning. We have been extremely pressured all the way through.
Anyway, let's go through and you highlight, the fees haven't been paid, site visit hasn't been done. We're
well, wait, real quick, before
Hang
you
on.
leave,
not leaving, I just gotta get on, I was going to some water.
are the minutes approved as amended? With that
I'm gonna-
amendment that you made?
Is there anything else, or shall I take
I'll
a
make that
motion to adjourn?
No, I'll make a motion to approve all the minutes for those 3 meetings
Oh, no,
as amended.
is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That constitutes approval of all the minutes that you've itemized.
So they don't have a timeline yet,
No,
which, that's the builder, I mean, not them.
so the time is 5:50 and this meeting is adjourned.
So we'll see motion to adjourn to the second.
I'll second. All right,
Actually, in a lot of the commission meetings and so forth, they don't have a motion to adjourn.
huh,
They just adjourn.
I mean, if you want to use something as a reason why this is, going the way it's going, is because there's been a lot of push to kind of skip over stuff.
Yeah.
And you say, this is what, you know, this is what we kind of are going off of, and some of the stuff was skipped over, so, you know.
And part of the issue too is like the turnover in staff.
Medium,
So far,